As the dust settles on the 2025 NFL Draft, one thing is perfectly clear, and that is the Denver Broncos got the guys that everybody wanted, at least two of them in this video that we're going to break down. Don't take my word from it. Don't take Sean Payton's biased word from it. We're actually going to hear from other front offices just about how much they were in love with a couple of the guys that the Denver Broncos were able to steal. We're going to look at PFF, talking about how because of this brilliant maneuvering, the Broncos actually got the steal of the entire first round of the NFL Draft. We're breaking all that down and way more in this video if you're new to the channel. I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan named Ben, and it helps me in the YouTube algorithm out a ton if you like the Broncos, if you would like and subscribe. Much like last year, when all of the talk after the initial Bo Nix news settled, a lot of people were saying, oh, the Broncos should have waited on Bo. He would have been there in the second round. This was the immediate reaction. They said stuff like, oh, we should have got Brock Bowers and tried to get Bo in the second round. And by the time training camp rolled around, we heard so many people come out and gush about what a brilliant pick that was. We heard Sean Payton hop on the Pat McAfee show and say how happy he was with the Bo Nix selection. And by the time training camp was in full session, we knew the Broncos had made a brilliant move. I think that exact same thing is happening with how the Denver Broncos played out this year's draft. Immediate reaction to getting Jade was, oh man, we should have gotten a running back there. And now as the dust is settling and we're hearing other front offices say how in love with our players they were, we're feeling way, way better about it. And so hopping over to the Jacksonville Jaguars front office, which now has a totally new regime there. They have the guy credited with finding Bucky Irving and bringing him aboard and making him a Pro Bowl type talent. They have the guy who found Puka Nacua, even though most mock drafts didn't have him getting drafted, and he ended up going in the 5th round and now is a Pro Bowl wide receiver. Well, those same people were in love with RJ. And so what we're reading here, just an incredible article here by Mike Silver, which basically Gladstone is coming and saying, even though they already traded the farm to get Travis Hunter, they're like, dude, at some point we have to roll the dice and go get him. I mean, what's the fun of this draft if we're not going to go and get this guy? They brought in their wide receivers coach and put a shirtless picture of Harvey on the screen, and we're like, hey, this is the guy that we need. And 5 picks into the second round, 5 picks before the end of the second round, Sean Payton took him. And immediately after, you hear them swear and say, oh my goodness, I can't believe that happened. And then another person that they had identified in our new wide receiver, Pat Bryant, we also did that exact same thing to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And they're furious about both of those. And that is a great, great place to be in. And why not? As we watch him in training, just absolutely Kool-Aid man like that dude. That guy's bigger than him, right? And just, this is what would happen if I tried to even just put a pad on our newest running back. Makes me incredibly excited about what we have in RJ Harvey. We know Sean Payton has never drafted a top 100 running back who didn't end up being an all-pro. So we've gone over that before, and now you're hearing other front offices say the exact same thing. We got an absolute dog. Love this tweet here. This is by Fanatic Dak, and I thought this was phenomenal. If you take away the elevator situation from Ray Rice and you just remember what he used to be on that Baltimore team, Baltimore's always been a really hard matchup for us. And I think prime Ray Rice scared me more than even their current running back situation, even with Henry and Lamar Jackson. And if you take a look at their RAS scores, these guys are identical players, and they had identical type production at the level in college. And so you look here, they're both 5'8", so you're saying they're small guys. We just saw what RJ does to a guy much bigger than him with a head of steam. And you look here, their bench press, very similar. You see RJ's got 5 pounds on him in weight, but then you look at their 40 time and you see RJ's actually a little faster than prime Ray Rice was. Their 20-yard split, 10-yard split, very similar. But you look at their vertical split, or their vertical jump, which is showing how explosive they are as athletes. You're looking at a 38-inch vertical for our newest running back, where Ray Rice only had a 31-inch vertical. So you're looking at a more explosive Ray Rice here, who his former coach comes out and just raves about. So amazing article here on SI.com. Which talks about the fact that we were able to get RJ Harvey, who was formerly a Division I running back, or Division I quarterback. And how many running backs do you know who actually played Division I quarterback? That the amount of being able to read coverages, read the field, read where exactly they're going, and being able to see a step ahead, that's going to be a very unique skill set that he is bringing. And my favorite part about this is the end of it. Like, we knew he was a team captain going into this, but at the very end of this article, he comes out and says his teammates absolutely loved him. He's one of the hardest workers on our whole team. He shows up early constantly, and he leaves late every day, and he's a quiet leader. And so you're seeing that Sean Payton drafts for not only explosiveness and in getting the athlete of a Ray Rice, but he's getting the high character guy like we have seen just kind of be his new tempo. Now, when we talk about him running a 4.4 at the combine, like, that sounds fantastic. But in the lead up to the NFL draft, when he was training on his own and didn't have the nerves of having the whole world streaming this on NFL Network, he ran a 4.3 when he was training. And there's several things on TikTok showing that, and maybe that stopwatch was a little late on that, but he's got 4.3, 4.4 type speed with the type of character that this team needs. I'm just wildly, wildly excited about it. And if you take a look at what the rest of the unbiased NFL media is saying, this is a Bleacher Report ranking of how you should go about drafting your next fantasy football running back. Obviously, we came into this whole draft saying, Ashton Jeanty, we got to get him. Well, Ashton Jeanty, they're saying, is going to be the fourth best running back from a fantasy standpoint this year. Well, you just drop 3 slots down and you get RJ Harvey. So you're basically saying, like, hey, he's just a little bit worse than Ashton Jeanty. Maybe just a little bit worse. He's running behind a much better offensive line, not even in the same sentence to being able to compare the Raiders' offensive line and ours. And he's actually got wideouts, and he's actually got a tight end. He's actually got a quarterback who can throw the ball. The Broncos' offense is so much better balanced than the Raiders are. And so I think you do not be surprised if RJ actually outperforms Ashton Jeanty this year. And that's not taking my biased word. Listen to what the Jacksonville Jaguars front office is saying. Look at what Bleacher Report is saying. And even if you just said, like, oh, we got RJ in the first round, we didn't. We traded back in the second round and somehow got a guy who's barely a notch below Ashton Jeanty. And because of us being able to do that, the Broncos were actually able to get the steal of the draft, and that was a guy we have profiled on here who I'm in love with, which is obviously Jahdae Barron. And you look here, this is Pro Football Focus. Again, usually pretty anti-Denver, and they dog on us and had us ranked really low last year, and they're saying that the Broncos had the number 1 steal of the entire NFL draft because you're looking that this was one of the only players that the Broncos actually had a top 10 grade on, and they were shocked that they had it. I'm just telling you that being able to get Jahdae Barron and RJ Harvey is a much, much better haul than we could have gotten had we gone with a running back in the first round and then anyone else on the board still in the second. So I think Sean Payton played this one absolutely perfectly, and this is going to age just incredible. And I think the Raiders picking Ashton Jeanty with the 6th overall pick in this draft with all the needs on their team, that's going to age like a piece of cheese in one of my kids' Lunchables, and I think we'll look back on that and absolutely laugh. Now, the other part about this Mike Silver article, talking about how much the front office of the Jaguars wanted RJ Harvey, at the very end of it, they also talk about another player who a lot of Broncos fans immediately were like, hey, in all my mocks, this guy fell to the 6th round, and that is obviously Duval Pat, and that is Pat Bryant. And I think as I hear more about it, this was a podcast that actually predicted Pat Bryant being an absolute steal before the NFL draft even happened. If you take a look at the timestamp on here, this was a draft from April 1st, and he, way before Sean Payton ever said, this guy reminds me of Michael Thomas, he comes out and says he reminds you of Michael Thomas, that you look with a quarterback that none of us could name playing against incredible Big Ten talent. He had 10 touchdowns and he had 1 drop the entire season. Like, if we went back to that Buffalo game that we lost in the playoffs, how many times did you see balls hit our receivers in the hands and you're like, come on, Bo Nix deserves better than this? His RAS score identical to the RAS score of Amon St. Brown from the Detroit Lions. And while he doesn't have the burner type speed that we were hoping for in the combine, if you take a look at any of his film, which we've broken down on this channel, he has actual game speed. And when you put pads on this dude, he is absolutely nasty. And so I think, again, you're seeing more and more people come out in favor of the Broncos making this pick in the 3rd round. This is one of my favorite channels to watch as well. Coming out and saying that he has it all together, that he's not crazy fast like in a track race, but that he has the quickest cuts and that his footwork is absolutely wild. He can make one-handed catches, he can catch in traffic, and his eye-hand coordination and his foot speed sync absolutely perfectly. And again, don't take our word for it. Take the word of unbiased NFL sources who are saying the Broncos had a fantastic draft and we should be wildly, wildly hyped for it. And again, going into this whole draft, we didn't know, like, did Sean Payton actually mean it when he said he felt good about our wide receiver class? Obviously, knowing that we didn't come out of here with Mecca Ibuka or a Luther Burden, like, obviously Sean Payton feels very good about what he needs. He knows there are small holes on this team, and if we fix those small holes and our rookies continue to progress, our rookies from last year take a small step forward in their progression, we're going to be a deep, deep playoff team, and I'm so glad that we are here for it and that we built this way. We didn't go out and sign a bunch of dudes. We built this thing in Denver, and it feels insanely exciting for me. I guess my big question for us here is, oh man, I thought I had the graphic here. Which NFL or which draft pick that the Broncos got are you most hyped to watch when it comes to our opening week? Denver Broncos Country, we're making a deep playoff run, and we got a ton to believe in. Woo! And that also means the Nuggets are going to win tonight. Fact.